Hello crafting friends, welcome to my podcast. My name's Barbara Radzevicius and this is Bondi Crafter. In this episode we will be looking at both knitting, whips I've still doing, and a quilt that I finished quilting this week. Machine quilt, the Flying Geese quilt. I have been procrastinating quite a bit about quilting this quilt. So last week I half quilted it because it's such a big quilt. So that will be, it's a really beautiful quilt too, and I'm so happy to have it finished. So my podcast is mainly about knitting and quilting. They are my two crafting passions, and I hope that it's interesting. If it is, please subscribe to my channel. Helps it all grow slowly. I have been watching the tour. I love watching the tour of France. So we're into the first day off today. It's it's Tuesday the 11th of July, 2023. And we've just been through the mountains, the Pyrenees. It is so beautiful between Spain and France. And yeah, it's just lovely. Lovely weather too for the riders, and I just like watching it. So that's mainly what I've been doing this week. Very busy. I have 3 whips on the go. I have made short videos on each of them, so we will have a look at that. See how we're progressing. So first of all, I'm revisiting a test knit that I did earlier this year for Vera Maku, and this is called the Piccino. Means little scarf. It is beautiful. I love cables. The first one I did, I knitted in a fingering weight. It was very light, Brooklyn tweed light, and yeah, it was a nice fine knit. But this one I thought I would go up a bit, and I'm knitting it in thicker yarn, and I thought I would add this unreal string of tweedy bits. It just adds some color to it. But this wool I got from Spotlight. It is so soft. It's all acrylic. This is acrylic too. And it's just lovely. I call it wool, but it's acrylic yarn, and it's as light as a feather. It is beautiful. And so this is how far I've gotten so far. I started it, I've done like 3 afternoons knitting on it, and it's quite a bit bigger than my first one. It's the back. Back also makes a pattern, and I love the edge, how the edge is coming out. You know, when you slip a stitch at the beginning. So yeah, that's my first one, and we'll also have a look at a bit of back knitting on that. My second whip is lovely also. It's another shawl. This time it is Lucca, and I'm knitting it in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, and the color's Ice Blue. It took me a while. It took me a while to get the graph, but eventually we know with perseverance we get everything, hopefully. And I really want to knit. I think it depends on how much you really want to knit it. I actually really want to knit a ranunculus like you wouldn't believe, but I cannot get it. I don't, it just doesn't go for me. So I've done quite a bit of this, and it's lovely. See the beginning of it. I'm hoping that when I block it, it will uncurl at the ends, but I'm not real sure on how you block pure silk. So that will be, I'll have to Google a few other podcasters, I think, and ask for advice, or if you have any advice on how to block pure silk, please tell me in the comments. The pure silks, it's so lovely. It's summer here at the moment, and it is so lovely. I've never had pure silk before. I have had mohair with silk, but not, and that's the first time of knitting with olive. That's how much I've got. But I did buy 4 balls, and this is my second ball. And my third whip is a new whip, and it is the Ghost Whisperer. And I wanted a pattern that would use up my mohair, and this is Black Elephant mohair from the UK, and this is how far I've gotten so far. So I knitted the body in a circle, and I've done the back, that's the back. I've divided for the armholes, obviously. And now I've started on the front panel, and that's how far I've gotten on this one. So what I have to do now is finish the front, and I'm going to put sleeves on it. The pattern has 3/4 sleeves, so I'm looking forward to that. And the colours in this is just lovely. And this will be probably my last mohair project, because the mohair, I'm finding the little particles get into my eyes, make my eyes dry, and get in my nose. And I want to have it done before summer, because the fan also blows more mohair particles at me. So I'm thinking when I'm wearing it, the particles can go somewhere else. That is all my knitting, and my knitting is whips. And then we go on to the quilting, and this is the quilt that I've made. So we've seen the progress on how I piece the top, and I pieced the top quite long ago, and it's blocks of 4, so you can see the four blocks, 4 pieces that make a block. And the blocks are just a rectangle of, I have had the measurements before, but I think it's basically 8.5-inch rectangle, 8.5 by 4.5, and then 4.5-inch squares, 2 of them, and you just sew diagonally the squares onto the rectangle, and you can chain piece. So really, it's a breeze quilt. It's very fast to piece the top, and I wanted to use up my K-facet fabrics. So all K-facet fabrics, and the back is a Tula, which I had for a long time also, and it's I think it's shot cotton or sateen, and very slippery. I had a lot of pins, and when I was machine quilting, because I machine quilted it, I was sort of wrestling sometimes, and I know it's because the back was slippery and it hung over the edge of the quilting machine table and everything. It's just such a big quilt, and you know, machine quilting it by yourself in a small space with a table where the pins want to go underneath the table and all sorts of things. But it took me 3.5 hours to machine quilt this, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy to have it finished in my queue of quilts. So I still have a fair few quilts in the queue. The next one I'm going to machine quilt is a log cabin with butterflies. So it's down there in the bag, waiting to go, all pinned up. I must have about 2,000 pins in quilts waiting to go. So next we will have a look at how I machine quilted this quilt. I quilted on Judith's Sweet 16 quilting machine. Even if you're thinking of a machine quilt to buy, I couldn't afford a machine quilt, but Judith so kindly shares her machine quilter with me, and we've been quilting on it now for 13 or 12 years, and it is such a good quality machine and so fun to use. When I'm quilting this, it's like driving my dad's car when I was learning to drive, the old Ford Falcon. It had great suspension and everything, and he used to let us drive around the road on at the tip. So I think he, we went there to get out of Mum's hair for a while, and when we were about 14, we were allowed to drive the car, and yeah, we could spend hours while Dad's scratched around in the tip. Tip wasn't like it is now. It was a tip with stuff in it. But yeah, we used to go to the tip and drive the car around. Never drove it off the road or anything. It's unreal. It's just, and driving that car was like you're in a spaceship. It was just, the time just flew by, and it was just amazing. So we will have not videos of me driving the car, obviously, but me going to Judith's yesterday, to finish off this quilt. I hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks, friends. Today I'm off to quilt my Flying Geese quilt. Just near Judith's. It's a beautiful sunny day. It's midwinter here, and these beautiful orange flowers are out, and the jasmine is just about ready to burst into flower. So, a happy day quilting. The first time it ran a bit, and the second time it dropped to the ground. Goes down the thing. Comes under the door. Yeah, it could easily fit under the door. Today I'm hoping to finish quilting this. I've already started. It's a big job, and that's the back. So hopefully just continuing on. Okay, I'm ready to go. I'm going to free motion this, and I'm going to do 2 blocks, well 3 when I get past. I've done the edge, and I'm hoping to go 2 blocks over. 1, 2, go up to the top and then go down the other side. That's how I'm planning to quilt it.
Randomly. Just start anywhere.
This is a sample that Judith does before start quilting. She has cleaned the bobbin case
And oiled it.
And oiled it, got the dust out, and now is ready to test the tension. She always does this before starting.
Okay, let's have a look. Underneath. Okay, it's too loose at the top. I can see how it's being pulled through to the bottom. So I just sort of too lazy to cut it, the threads right now. And I'll just I forgot to change it. So righty tighty, lefty loosey is the mnemonic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at it now. Now it's too tight, somewhere in between.
I finished quilting the Flying Geese quilt. It's looking lovely. Well done. I love the colours and the fabrics, mainly K Facet Collective. They are all K Facet Collective. The colours are so beautiful and saturated. Every one of them. So beautiful. Okay, we'll turn it over and have a look at the back. The back's a wide tooler that I got a fair while ago. I think I bought 1.5 meters from fabric.com when it was fabric.com. And it's the swallows. It's beautiful. So you can see how I've quilted it. It took me about 3.5 hours, I would say. That's non-stop quilting to quilt the whole quilt. I'm pleased with how it came out. That's it for me for this week, friends. Thanks for joining me. Hope you like seeing the quilt get it quilted. Well, I couldn't hold the camera while I was quilting, but on the way there and afterwards. And yeah, that's it. See how we go with the whips, and I should have them finished by next episode. Bye, friends.